Hey there, writers. I'm Holly, and welcome back to the HC Publishers How to Write a Book series. If you're new, hello and welcome. This is a place where we're building a community of creative storytellers just like yourself. So don't forget to hit the like button or subscribe below by clicking the bell. Okay, now today we're looking at a big one. How can you write action over several chapters without exhausting the reader or yourself? And what can you do when you just can't find the words? We'll also be pulling in a higher conscious practice that I personally like to use in my writing of doing a quick body scan that helps me to stay in flow. And I hope you find it helpful too. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Here are a few ways to stretch the action scenes over chapters without overwhelming your reader or audience. The first thing you can do is to vary emotional beats. Then, number 2, use setting shifts. And the third thing you can do to stretch out that action in a meaningful way is to include mini cliffs within the arc. Action is extremely important to a book. Readers love tension, momentum, and drama. But here's the thing. Too much action without contrast can actually have the opposite effect and make the story feel flat, losing your reader. I know it sounds crazy. I'm going to show you what I mean, though, in the book I'm working on. Here are those ways to stretch action over the chapters that were just posted. Number 1, vary the emotional beats. This means you let your characters breathe between major plot punches, instead of coming at them back to back to back. Even in high-stakes moments, show the characters' internal thoughts, their doubts, or reflection. This gives the readers a chance to connect on a deeper level, and it makes the next hit even more impactful. Here you can see in the book I'm working on that I'm highlighting different text showing the reader's thoughts or feelings as they're moving and being chased. So I put in some dialogue that they have quickly back and forth with each other like we talked about in the previous video, and then it goes to the actual movement of the scene, that action, and then following that there's a small reprieve where one of the characters, whoever's perspective it's from, is going to have a paragraph or even a line or two only of how they feel in that moment before jumping right back into the action. The second tip was to use setting shifts. This means a new location, even briefly, can give your story a fresh lens. Changing the setting during ongoing action can reset yourself and the reader's attention, adding texture to the scene. So in this example, in the actual book, the characters were being chased through the woods after a car accident. Once they were through the woods, they went to a field, and from there, they jumped into a river and made it to the lake. Each of those portions has a small setting change where I give into giving a few descriptive details of what the new setting looks like, and by doing that, it doesn't slow the action, but it averts the reader's attention to something new. The third tip is to use mini cliffs within the action arc itself. Thinking of action as a wave, not a constant sprint, you go in and create small climaxes and dips within the action so readers stay hooked without burning out. The example from the book I'll use is at the end of the chapter where I had the characters jump into a river to get away from the people chasing them. At that point, it was the end of a chapter, and then moving into the next chapter, there was that pause in the action where the characters came above water, had their internal dialogue and external dialogue with each other where they were calmed down from the momentum of the last chapter. It also gave the reader a chance to breathe with them. No pun intended. Now let's talk about getting stuck, because we all do, especially when writing long action arcs over a few chapters or several chapters. It's easy to feel like you've written yourself into a corner and it's hard to find a way out, or think your way out, or write your way out. So I'm going to show you the current book I'm working on, similar to what we did in the last video, but instead of just focusing on pacing the entire plot, we're going to look at tips and strategies just focused on action scenes. Let's take a closer look. Here's a few things to try if you find yourself getting stuck writing those long action arcs. The first thing is to think about reverse the perspective. And what I mean is, in the book I'm working on, the characters were out on a Great Lake trying to kayak across to get away. The chapter itself was told from Elisa's perspective. So a tip would be to brainstorm and go in trying to think of it from Mikkel's perspective instead of hers. What would happen in the scene, including each of their feelings and how they contrast. That way, when you go back in to write the action scene, you can include some more internal dialogue or descriptive details like we talked about in the last book. The second thing to try when you get stuck during those long action arcs is to jump ahead. If you feel like you can't move on in a scene you're currently working on and it's not working, leap forward to a part you do feel excited about writing. Writing out of order is allowed, I promise. And I do this all the time when it comes to the beginning of the book and the end of the book, and then piecing it all together again. And the third thing that you can try when you get stuck is to ask, what would surprise you? Here you can see at the bottom of the page, I am thinking about their trip across the Great Lake and a few things that I probably won't include, but I could. And just having fun with it often gets me back in flow with writing, and I can bring some more excitement into the action scene, because even though a lot of times we think of action being fun and exciting, when you're writing it, it becomes tedious and you kind of just want the action to stop. So I went ahead and brainstormed some ideas about, well, maybe there would be, a storm coming up as they crossed, or there would be some kind of giant water creature, something happening with the kayak and one of them tipping out. So small things like that just allow you to open up to your creativity, and a lot of times I found that I'm able to get back in the swing of things in writing. And now, something a little different and powerful, the higher conscious practice of a body scan. When you're really stuck and spinning your wheels, sometimes the best move is to get out of your head and into your body. Try this quick body scan to reset your nervous system, clear creative blockages, and reconnect you to the present moment, where the real writing happens. Try it. It's a game changer. And that's it for this episode of How to Write a Book. Don't forget to subscribe below and be on the lookout for next week's video. Thanks for watching.